I'm Casey Schurtz.
And I'm Brian Miller.
Brian, what is this? What is happening today?
You and I call each other quite a bit, and we try and brainstorm some stuff. And oftentimes we feel like it could be beneficial, not only in the outcome, but also just in the process of brainstorming and working through and navigating. So we decided, let's just make them a little bit shorter. Let's do it live. Let's do it real time so people can maybe work through or hear us work through a very direct problem that we're dealing with, listening to us find solutions. Just an open, honest, raw moment of us finding solutions.
And I'm sure that every once in a while our listeners just think of us as a couple of guys who are distant and being philosophical and maybe overly hopeful. But the truth is that we're still boots on the ground trying to get work done, and it often sounds a lot like the things we talk about in our full episode. So this is a pretty cool thing, and we're really excited to have our audience just kind of hang out with us as we brainstorm some real life issues. And I bet a lot of you are.
Yeah, hopefully this is encouraging as you hear two guys who I think care a lot about education struggle, but ultimately our commitment is within a short amount of time, we find some solutions. So welcome to the first Schurtz Shorts. Let us know what you think. So here's my question. I guess I want to ask them, like, what kids do you connect with? Trying to get them to understand you naturally connect with certain kids, you naturally gravitate towards certain kids, and so you get that connection with them. And once you have that, you're able to kind of navigate them and help them. But what about the kids that you don't? And how can I say, even if you don't like them, even if they have behaviors that are driving you freaking batshit crazy, how can you find a personal engagement that helps them move?
What if you offer a challenge to the staff? Hey, I want you to come up with something to say to this kid that's going to slow their thinking down and encourage them to tell you more so that you can fill in whatever skills they're lacking. But I want that statement to take less than 12 seconds because we know it has to be quick. So what are you going to say to that kid, right? You might even be able to build it up that way.
Yeah, I'm struggling.
Because what we also have to do is front load empathy. I know there's just not time for it. And you might frame it this way, like the alternative is you stand there and argue with a kid. The alternative is you also become emotional, and now you're both just saying the fastest thing that comes to mind because you're both emotional. Now you have a strategy to walk away, and you're going to encourage that kid to spend some time with that as well.
So I mean, you've been thinking about this, so this is pretty fresh in your brain. I'm having a difficult time getting to that point. I'm having that
What's your alternative
of logic to what? I haven't given them an alternative yet. We're still stuck on the.
Well, I'm just saying, now that you've identified there's a skill deficit, what do you want the teachers to do next?
I want the teachers to personally engage. That's what I want them to do. I want them to pause. I want them to not get so emotional, but I can't say this directly. I can't be up there and be like, guys, you need to stop taking it so personal. Don't take it personal. How can you personally engage with that person?
How about this? What if you shape it around the concept of the stairwell? Right? That idea that you were in a heated moment and you couldn't think of the right thing to say, but then you walked away and you're in the stairwell and now you thought of the perfect thing to say. What if is that less personal? Is that saying, let's create scenarios where everybody gets an opportunity to say the best thing and the right thing and the realest thing?
Yes.
You don't want to delay there. I would argue that there has to be something, or maybe you lay it on the staff this way. How can we slow down that student's thinking and your thinking so that we can collaborate for a better outcome? What would that look like in your classroom?
Okay. The problem with you is that I love all that you're saying, but in my looking in front of me, I can't sequentially get there. Okay. So this question, think of a time recently where a student had personal, emotional, or social deficits and we took it personal. Is that a fair question?
Why are you so worried about us taking it personally? What are you trying to resolve?
Because that's the problem. When we take it personal, we're causing the friction. That's why we're not able to do the and. We've taken it personal, so that kid is just disrespectful. That kid is.
Yeah. That's where I would then ask the question, what can we do to slow our thinking down and their thinking down so that nobody takes it personally and so that we can actually get to the root of the skill deficit and how to fix that.
What can we do to slow the
I would argue that's the most important thing is we have to slow down and back away from our emotions. Get out of here. Can't talk to me that way, right? That's the kind of stuff we can't do.
Isn't it okay to
So
tell a kid to get out of here for now? To get some separation?
rarely, yeah. Because here's what I think a better solution would be. Wow, you said that really fast and there was a lot of emotion. I bet if I come back in a minute, you'll have a different response for me. And that response will help me understand what you might need. And so I'll be back in a minute, right? I would argue that 99% of the time, that's a better response.
I love that response.
Because who gives a shit if a teenager off the cuff is a pouty little brat? It's what they are.
Yeah, but we take it personal, and
We
that's why,
do. I
you know?
agree with you. But if you're going to stand before your staff and
And
say,
I
don't
can
take it personal, then
No.
give them a strategy to not take it personally. And that strategy is just to walk away before the emotions
Well,
overtake.
the ultimate strategy is to be the adult in the room, right? Like, you gotta that's the ultimate strategy, is that you
Yeah.
need to understand that they're kids.
Yeah, and that's where I think them having the language to say, shoot. Well, first of all, having the knowledge that they are talking from an emotional place because they are just saying the first thing that comes to mind in defense of what they're doing. Because, I mean, it's what we always do. We get defensive when somebody points out that we're not doing what we're supposed to do.
So, maybe this is just us, learning on how this process is gonna go. We don't have to publish this one, but I like this idea.
I like it too.
And if I
It'd
didn't
be
have
it's
a time crunch,
Yeah, I think that's part of what it is. We probably have to come up with. We might even need to set a timer. 3 minutes for the problem, 10 minutes for the solution, 2 minutes for the wrap up, whether
problem
it's
is that
resolved or it's not.
doesn't always work that way, though. That's where I'm
Well, no, it doesn't. And I'm just saying if it's for production value and also not overburdening us, I'm okay releasing this one. I might even
I think we should.
I'll just,
I think
I'll
what I'd
just
like to
let
do
it.
is us be a little bit more raw in what we're doing, that we're not
Yeah.
golden
I
goose
think
people.
both
It's just,
I think both matters.
of course, if all we're doing is just sitting here not solving any problems, that's not
No
helpful.
one's listening to that. And some people will skip this episode, be like, it's just those two not answering any questions and struggling with life. We do that on our own. Or maybe misery loves company. Who knows? I don't know.
So I honestly would say, even like this conversation, let's just start. This is just, if you want to listen to a little extra, this is us. So,
Yeah.
okay. I need to get back to, so then where, really quick, really quick, does all of what we just talked about, in your opinion, and the flow of conversation, does it lend to my personal story of Mr. Huber and Trey Turner?
So here's the only concern I have. I think it does. But there are students where the teacher would have a hard time finding the thing that they're really good at.
And isn't that the problem?
It is. But honestly, there are some kids who lack so many skills that it's a little tough. But I would say that you probably have to come up with a language. I actually just had a conversation exactly like this with the art teacher. And she came in and she's upset because a lot of kids are failing and they're so far behind. And she's like, it's art class. My gosh, it's so easy. And I said to her, is it easy for all your students? Or is art difficult for some of your students?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, yeah. And I was like, so, I mean, do you want some ideas on what you might try? And she's like, sure. And I said, what I would do is I would collaborate with students for some deadlines, let them pick when they're going to get various things done, and then check in with them. And then when they finish the task and they put in the hard work, celebrate that with them. Because they're going to look at it and be like, geez, that is terrible. But you're going to be like, dang, you worked hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you be here in 40 minutes?
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Let's start right now. Let's have an honest conversation. Let's walk you through this right now. What's on the board? Go.
Well, I'm just going to repeat myself a million times.
Just what's up there? What am I walking into as a staff member? What do I see?
Right now, when you walk in there, welcome. I mean, I don't want to rehash all the other
Is it the
previous
fancy
stuff.
welcome sign where it
It's
just says
one I take a
welcome in
lot of
black
time
and
on.
white?
Yep.
Awesome. Already feel right at home. Okay.
So
And
we're
then
gonna
the
do
first thing you
housekeeping
say?
stuff. We're gonna do.
Yeah,
We're
don't
gonna
even
do
worry.
the mayor
Move on. I don't
stuff.
care about that.
Yep. So then
Now it's time for the
engagement.
PD.
Then I want them to, I just have
Just
students know because I want them to refresh their memories, and then I refresh them. It's what to do now, what to do next. They are willing to do it. Okay. So what about the behavior kid? Why are they struggling, and what do they need? If they can't get there on their own, I'll guide them to, well, if they know what to do now, they know what to do next, or even willing to do it. The breakdown is often the skills. They need the skills. Okay. So let's talk about skills. What is a common behavior our students exhibit that causes harm? When students lack skills. That's what I want to say. When students lack skills, what is a common behavior they exhibit that causes frustration? Is that
I
fair?
think you have to ask that question in reverse because your teachers are not going to buy the fact that it's a missing skill just yet. You have to lay the behavior out first and say what skills might be lacking that cause this behavior.
But don't I need to get them, I want them thinking about engagement first, or no? Maybe you're right. Hold on.
Which engagement are you doing? Behavioral or personal?
Personal. So hold on. I'm gonna go back to what you just said. So if we go from housekeeping,
So
and then hold on. And then I open up with when student. Nope.
Start with the easier question, which is what is the concerning behavior? That gets people thinking, and they're ready to say that out loud.
Now you've effed me up here. Now I've lost track. So I
Is that
initially was going to
because
start
it was
off.
so good?
Well, I initially was going to start off with engagement. So you're saying I should ask a question first, though, getting them thinking about behaviors?
Let me ask you a different question. Your goal is to get the staff to not take their behaviors personally, right?
To start investing in personal engagement, yes. Don't take it personal. Make it personal. Get involved with your students.
And this is primarily to
Because if you can get involved with your students,
fix
you can teach
behaviors.
them skills. You can help them become a better person, which gives them access to the content.
Okay. So I think if you start with the behavior and just get people pumped up, excited, like, can you believe, that kid in the TP or whatever's happening in your world? Do I need to delete that part?
Just leave it out. Keep going.
People are going to say the behaviors, and now they're energized, and then whatever that shift question is,
Okay.
which is, it's
Actually,
probably about, okay,
I'm digging you.
How do we access this kid? So in my mind, it's like, all right, how do we access this kid so that we can begin to make a connection so that they are more willing to change the behavior? The primary way we would do that is by remaining a teacher. So we've got to identify the skills that they lack that we could support them in. Or have them help us identify those skills. I know you're a little skeptical of that one, but.
So what if I said, think of a frustrating moment with a student this week or even today. Share with somebody nearby.
Yeah.
So now we're thinking about, because now I can say,
you can even ask what caused that behavior.
Well, I'm gonna get there. So I'm not gonna ask that question, because if they start sharing it, I'm gonna say, okay, we have said that engagement is students know what to do now, what to do next, and they're willing to do it. Was their behavior a consequence of them not knowing what to do now and what to do next and not willing to do it? And
Right.
I'm assuming they're going to say no, right?
Yep.
Maybe some will say yes, they didn't know what to do. Great, you
Yep.
solved it. So then this is your solution. Somebody might say no, and then I can say, okay, if they clearly knew what to do now, they clearly knew what to do next, and I don't care if they're willing or not yet. Why did they misbehave? And hopefully that will generate into this potential skill set. They didn't have the skills to navigate their emotions.
Actually, I wonder if this question would be an interesting way to approach it. If the question was, if that student had mastered a skill, or what skill would that student need to master to be more willing to behave in that moment? right? Because then it can be, well, self-regulation, perseverance, right? You can start running through those things.
So what if I said, think of a frustrating moment with a student this week or even today, share with somebody nearby. And then my follow-up question is, what was the student lacking in order to be successful in that moment? Is that good?
I think that's fine, yeah. And getting the focus on one or two skills. Now, here's where one reason I get nervous about this approach rather than the collaborative approach is because your teachers are going to say, well, when do I have the time to teach the kid this skill?
Well, you're going to be addressing it all year long. So it's going to
Right.
steal from your time already. So you
And
can
then
either
my
address
next
it or you
question,
can battle it.
yeah. So this is where I might argue that the student problem solving and collaborating is going to have a greater impact moving forward than me just deciding what the skill was and me teaching that skill. I really think as often as possible, getting that student to say out loud the thing that would help them.
Yes.
But I know that that's exhausting to you right now.
Well, it's that in and of itself is an entire workshop. And it's not.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And maybe I take it for granted because it is my nature. And so it does take some work to get people to shift their language and mindset to get theirs.
So let's see here. So they're lacking skills. Thinking back to with the student.
So I have a favor to ask of you. When your teachers start to share out the behaviors or the skills, I want you to think about the impact that the question would be, hey, what do you need so that you can stop getting up out of your seat so often during class? What do you need so that you can, right? Just do me that favor and think about how that question might, because it's just one question.
That I'm asking the teachers.
No, the teachers are asking the student. Just that one question could have a profound impact. What do you need so that you aren't getting up out of your seat as often? What do you need to complete this assignment? That question was one of my favorites to ask. I just walk around, hey, what do you need? What do you need to get this done? What do you need to, right? And then letting the kid have a moment to figure out that need. If a kid gives an emotional response, then it's like, man, you said that fast. That seems a little emotional. I'll be back in a minute. Love to help you through this. But
So what if I said something like, what do you need? And I have dot, dot, dot. And underneath I say, to get this done, to gather yourself, to be
prepared. I think
right?
offering up a sentence frame or letting them build the sentence frames, if you can really articulate the desired outcome and then say, hey, what would you say to a kid to accomplish this? And let them build their own sentence frames. I think that's probably better, but they also need it modeled. They need an example.
Yeah. So what if I said, so my slide is thinking back to your engagement with the student. I am asking them, how did you respond? Share with someone around you, and what was the outcome? Hopefully I can generate, and because then what I don't mind doing is if they're sharing their stories, maybe a couple people share, then I don't mind saying from my perspective, where I sit, what I see is this is where a lot of our relationships break down. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to give you some potential solutions that when our personal engagement is actually becomes the barrier to academic engagement, here are some solutions to not letting the personal engagement become a barrier. Things like, and I'm just going to say two things. Well, three things. I'm going to say, slow down, slow the process down. Right.
Yep.
So I'm going to use some of that language for yourself. If that means getting separation from the student, yes. If that means when a student responds rather quickly, saying, "Hey, man, that was a pretty quick response," and typically when I respond quickly, it's because I'm responding out of my emotions and not out of my conscience. So let's pause that. Asking students, what do you need? You're getting real frustrated right now, and you're frustrated with me right now. So what do you need? Right. So giving some of that language, and then I can go into the third one is yes and. We're going to address the students. And oftentimes what's beneficial is the personal connection. Let me give you some examples. My story, Trey Turner, boom. Is that a sequence?
I think that's awesome. Yeah,
we
I
can
think that's
do.
good. And I'm excited to hear that, how that goes.